Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Area85 and welcome to a special video where I will be doing the 2013 YouTube survey. This was a thing that kind of went around on YouTube a couple months ago, and someone asked me if I wanted to do it, and I wasn't sure, and I was like, well, maybe, I don't know, and then I got really busy, and I've been working, and I really haven't had time to do anything. My one friend, she asked me to do it, so I am doing it, and all of her information is down below. You can subscribe to her channel, watch her videos. She's a good friend of mine, so say hi if you go check her out and tell her I sent you. But anyway, ignore the Double Dragon playing in the background, because obviously I don't really have a good camera to show my face, so I figured, well, I'll just game and talk. And I chose Double Dragon 2. Why? Just because I picked it from my collection, so yeah. Anyway, moving on. Alright, so the 2013 survey, there are 5 questions, and we'll start with question number 1, which is, number 1, what is your biggest fear? I have a lot of fears, actually. I don't know if I have a biggest fear, but I'm afraid of spiders, so I'm arachnophobic. If they're the little tiny ones, it doesn't really bother me, but the big ones, I have a fear of drowning. Believe it or not, I don't know actually how to swim. It's not that I'm afraid to go into the water, it's I'm afraid to put my head under the water. I'm not sure why, but every time I do, I feel like I'm going to drown. And then I know people are thinking, well, you have showers, you're in the water there. Yeah, well, I don't know, I guess it's different. But as for my biggest fear, I could probably relate to the character Ellie from The Last of Us, which is a great game. And if you don't know what The Last of Us is, I've included a link down below. But essentially, she's asked in the adventure in the video game, what is her greatest fear, what she's most scared of, and she says she's scared of being alone. I'm the same way. It's not that I need to have somebody around me all the time, but I would just be one of those people that when it is my time to go, I'd be scared that I'm going alone, and since obviously we don't know too much about the afterlife and what lies beyond, it's just a scary thing. So that's probably my biggest fear. Alright, so on to question number 2. How did you find out Santa wasn't real? This is a good story. Actually, goes way back about 20 years ago. I was 8 years old, and I had gotten my suspicions prior to that, I believe. There was one year I remember Dad was in the living room, and I think he was up late wrapping gifts. And he had said that, oh yeah, I'm gonna pass out on the couch, and I tried to keep an eye out for Santa, and being like I think it was like the 6 or 7 year old I was, didn't question, as long as you were a good boy, Santa brought you your gifts. So, but there was one year, and I think, it was about 8 years old, I remember, and I said to my mom, Mom, is Santa Claus real? And, thankfully my sister was sleeping at the time, because, at the time I think she was only like 1 or 2 years old, and she obviously still believed in Santa Claus. And my mom goes, well, what do you think? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, you're right. And she's like, did you have fun anyway? And I was like, yeah, and she's like, don't tell your sister, and I didn't. And then, a few years later, obviously my sister caught on, but, yeah, so that's pretty much how I found out. It was a random question that I asked my parents, and obviously my parents weren't going to lie to me, so, yeah, alright. Number 3, what's the best idea that I've ever had? I don't know if I've had any really good ideas. Usually my ideas are, pretty crazy, or dumb, or, best idea, well, actually, we wanted to make s'mores one time, and so rather than, because normally with s'mores you have to, get the marshmallow, cook it up a little bit, or heat it up a little bit, melt the chocolate. So anyway, my friend and I decided one night we were going to make s'mores, like nacho dip. Well, not like dip, but you know what I mean, like just dip that you'd be able to obviously put the cracker in. So, that was probably the most delicious and most satisfying idea that we ever had. It's obviously probably not an original idea, it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's probably one of the better ideas I've had. But as to a really best idea, I don't think I have a best idea. Yeah, I don't know. What classifies as a best idea? Like, it's so amazing that everybody else is using it? I mean, best idea. I gotta think about that one. Best idea. No, that's pretty much it. I mean, my idea is just they're spur of the moment, and the problem with me too is that I'm an indecisive person. So when we're out somewhere, it's like, oh, what do you want to eat? And it's like, I have a really hard time picking something unless I know for a fact what I want. But usually I'm pretty indecisive. So I don't know if I have a best idea. But most embarrassing thing your parents have ever done. Well, I don't think my parents have really done too many things embarrassing that I can recall. Maybe it was more to make fun of me, but I mean, it wasn't really embarrassing, but it was kind of funny. I remember when I first got my first job at McDonald's, I was working the counter, and my dad came in, and, obviously you have to serve family, and it's not like, where like if you work at a grocery store or something like that, you can't bring them through or what have you, but fast food, I don't think they really care. There wasn't really a policy of, caring or whatever. But anyway, so my parents come through, and, we ate McDonald's on occasion, sure, but, so anyway, my dad comes in and he's like, you got any of those Whoppers, like that I keep hearing about? I'm like, no, sir, they're, that's Burger King. He's like, oh, well, and then I think he asked for, he's like, what about them Blizzards, like Dairy Queen reference, and obviously just trying to he knew that I was, it was my first job, and I think it was my first day, so he knew I was kind of nervous, and so he was asking me I don't really call that embarrassing, although I'm sure my face kind of went red. I think the only other embarrassing thing is that my mom would always joke that she's like, whenever you get married or your future fiance, we'll bring out the baby pictures, and I'm just like, oh God, Mom, no, please, just no, all right? Nobody needs to see those. No. So, yeah, no, that's not happening ever. Ever. All right. Well, anyway, moving on. All right. So the last question was, if you were only allowed to pick one career for the rest of your life, what would it be? If you had asked me that when I was a kid, I would have said a Toronto Maple Leaf hockey player or a Toronto Blue Jays pitcher, because I really like sports. Even now, obviously, I watch them, but I don't play them as much as I did as a kid. I don't know. As a kid, I think your career changes all the time. I remember I wanted to be a police officer for a bit, and then growing older. I know I obviously, as a teenager, and even today, I still love video games, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll work in the video game industry, but, I mean, there's so many different jobs, story writing, sound, journalism, working at a video game store, just whatever. But if I had to pick one career, it's pretty tough. I'm trying to think of things I might enjoy. If I got to pick one career, honestly, I'm not sure. Maybe a movie critic, like a really famous movie critic, because I like going to movies and watching movies, or maybe like a director. I think, I have some good story ideas, and friends have told me that I have good story ideas, so maybe I would be really good in writing a film. Or even, like I said, maybe going back into law enforcement. Maybe even like being a private eye detective, or so helping people. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, obviously the ideal dream would be to pick a career that I would enjoy. But I mean, there's just so many different options. So I really don't have a career that I would enjoy one over the other. I think if you're honestly happy where you are, and you've got a roof over your head and food in the fridge, that's all the ambition and that's all the happiness that you really need. So, but yeah. So anyway, those are the 5 questions for the YouTube survey. I'm going to be tagging some people down below and sending them off to do the survey. If you haven't already done the survey, I know it's like 2 months old, but hey, feel free to do the survey, make a video, or even let me know in the comments section below the answers to your questions, to the same questions that I answered, and let me know, what's your biggest fear? When did you find out that Santa wasn't real? What's your biggest idea that you've ever had, or best idea? Maybe what's the most embarrassing thing your parents ever did? And certainly, if you were only allowed to pick one career for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? Be sure to check out my other videos. I do a lot of Let's Play videos, and next month, when I get the PlayStation 4, I will be doing an unboxing video, so stay tuned for that. You can follow me on my Twitter down below, along with my Facebook and my Google+. And until next time, guys, as always, this is Area 85 saying take care, y'all, and good luck and have fun.